Perfect. All right, we're good to go.
Nope.
Joanna, did you have a chance to look it over at all yet? Joanna? All right. Well, let's
just start reading the questions.
Yeah. So first question was, the forces that make market economies work are work and leisure, politics and religion, supply and demand, taxes and government spending. Well, it depends on who you ask.
Yeah, but I think it's based on supply and demand.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. I'll do number 2.
Okay.
The highest form of competition is called absolute, cutthroat, perfect, or market. I'm going to say it's perfect.
I agree. So that's where everything's selling for the same price and everybody's got the same quantities. That's what we're using for the analysis, right?
Right.
All right. The demand for a good or service is determined by those who buy the good or service, the government, those who sell the good or service, both those who buy and those who sell. I'm going to say those who buy the good or service.
Yeah. Is Joanne with
Joanna,
us?
Can you hear us, Joanna? She's having trouble hearing us, so she's going to hop out and then hop back in. All right, let's I don't know if she's getting off and getting back on or what, but
that's cool. Let's go. So most studies indicate that tobacco and marijuana tend to be substitutes, complements, unrelated, or inferior. Say they're complements.
Yeah. Actually, when I was doing the practice one, I looked up a couple studies and they said they were complements.
Oh, all right.
Because I had no idea. All right, for number 5, the following table contains a demand schedule. $10 is 100, $20 that it could be according to law of demand. I said 0 out of the 0, 100, 200, 400.
0 is the question, is the answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the only thing it could be because the price doubled, so the quantity would have to go down.
Right.
According to the law of demand.
All right. So refer to the graph or the image. The movement for DA to DB could be caused by a decrease in price, a decrease in income, buyers expecting the price or increase and the price of a complement. I had a little trouble on graphs. Do you understand them?
Yeah. So with these ones, if the price increase or decrease, it would move along the line. So it couldn't be that one. A decrease in income, assuming the good is inferior. That was one of the things they talked about that would actually shift the whole curve to the right.
Okay.
So that's what I picked, because an inferior good is the quantity purchased is gonna be higher at any given price point if people's incomes are decreasing.
All right.
And then for 7, we got our table, and then it wants us to pick a graph based on what the value chart shows. So I added up the first one at $7, and said at $7 there's 50 quantity of 50 being demanded.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked down at the charts, and the only one at $7 that shows 50 demanded was the first one.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx this, but a lot of them are A's. The first questions, but it's not. I mean, I don't know. I'm seeing it. I got a dog barking now. All right, number 8. When quantity demanded has increased at every price, it might be because the numbers of buyers in the market has decreased. Our income has increased, and the good is an inferior good. The costs incurred by the sellers producing the good have decreased, or the price of a complementary good has decreased. That to be the first one again?
I actually got the price of complementary good has decreased, because since the quantity demanded increased at every price, it was shifting to the right. So our demand curve has actually shifted entirely. So the only thing, so if it was like an inferior good, then it would shift it would actually shift left. If it was the number of buyers in the market decreased, it would shift left, and the cost by the sellers, that would actually shift supply curve, not demand curve. So the price of a complementary good, if hot fudge goes down in price, then more people are going to buy ice cream no matter what its price is, because they're going to buy the ice cream with the hot fudge. So okay. I did 4.
All right.
So for 9, the quantity supplied of a good is the amount that buyers are willing and able to purchase, sellers are able to produce, buyers and sellers of B will be brought to the market, or sellers are willing and able to sell.
The amount of a good that sellers are willing to be able to sell. The third one.
The fourth one, the sellers are willing and able to sell?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I got.
Okay. Moving right along.
Can you hear us now, Joanna?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Want to catch her up real quick?
Okay. Wait, what was that?
Want to catch her up real quick, or are you able to hear us?
I'll just go on with where you guys are, and then I'll look at the link later.
Okay.
So, let me just
for 10, we're on 10, Joanna.
Okay.
For iPods could shift in response to a change in today's price of iPods, the expected future price of iPods, the number of buyers of iPods, or all of the above.
Let's say the expected.
That's what I put. I kind of went back and forth on this one, because I was like, it could be all the above, but the number of buyers would affect demand, not supply. Today's price, I was between today's price and expected future price, but I think expected future price, because the curve wouldn't shift for today's price; it would shift for the future. So I say that's the one we do.
Okay.
So for the next one, we got a diagram, 2 demand curves with 2 points on command curve A. Sale on chicken would cause a move from demand A to demand B to demand A, X to Y, or Y to X.
D to A, or sorry, A to B.
Yep, I agree.
Once again, A is the first one. All right. So 12, we have a graph here. And if those are the only 4 sellers in a market, then a market quantity supply at a price of 10 is, let's see. Would that be a smaller number, like 11, or would that be 3?
So you on those ones, so when we're calculating market supply, we take every single firm's, so like right now our market's represented and it says that these are the only 4 sellers on the market. So then at $10, you just add up every single one, and then that's how many is getting supplied to the market. So you just add up every single person's at $10, and it'd be 44.
Oh wow, that's a large one. Okay.
So 13 was a rightward shift of a supply curve is called a increase in supply, decrease in supply, decrease in quantity supplied, increase in quantity supplied. So I couldn't remember, and I got to look this up actually, if it increase in supply or increase in quantity supplied. I thought that increase in quantity supplied was along the curve. So if you're increasing the curve, then you're changing your quantity. But shifting the curve is increasing the supply because you're actually increasing the total amount supplied at every number. Mm-hmm. So I picked increased supply.
Okay.
Wait, so what's the difference between quality supplied or quantity supplied and just regular supply?
Let me double check so I'm not lying to you. But my understanding from the reading was that quantity supplied is along the curve. So like if you change the price, okay, it's going to change the quantity supplied along that curve.
Yeah.
But the change in supply is actually going to be the shift of the curve itself, because it's changing at that price point. On all price points, the whole thing's getting, but I could be totally backwards on that. I'm going to look real quick. So yeah, quantity supplied is the actual number along the curve. Supply is the reference to the entire curve. So if the curve moves, it's a change in supply, where if a price change causes it, it's a change in quantity supplied. So we're good with increase in supply. So for 14, it's which supply schedule obeys the law of supply? The first one obviously doesn't. The second one does. The third one doesn't. And the fourth one does. So be firm B and firm D. So answer 4.
Okay.
You guys get that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the unique point in which the supply and demand curves intersect is called market coincidence, equivalence equilibrium. Let's see.
I'm gonna say equilibrium on that, right? That's the point where they intersect.
That's what I thought.
Okay. Sounds good.
So for 16 at a price of $35, there would be a surplus or a shortage of 400 units, surplus of 200 units, surplus of 400 units, or a surplus of 600 units.
Probably be a surplus, but I don't know of which quantity though.
Surplus of 200, I think.
So on this one, when we're calculating surpluses, you look at your points at $35. It's got that horizontal dotted line across there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So your point demanded would be 200. Your point supplied would be 600. So the gap in between the two curves is going to be your surplus. So it'd be a surplus of 400.
Okay. I was looking at the intersection. Okay.
Oh.
That makes sense.
You want to read 17? Or can she read it? Okay. No.
Oh, wait. Oh, sorry.
You want to do 17?
Yeah. Let me just write that down. So, which of the following movements would illustrate the effect in the market for fences of a decrease in the price of wood? Would illustrate the effect in the market for offenses. Would it be A?
Yep. Yeah, because since it's a change in price, it's going to go along the curve and not actually shift the curve.
All right. I'll do 18.
Okay.
All else equals, an increase in the productivity of turkey farmers would cause a move from DA to DB, DB to DA, X to Y, or Y to X. Once again, is it DA to DB?
On this one, it would be the opposite. It would actually be B. It'd be DB to DA because they're increasing their no, you might be right because it's demand, productivity. So if it's like this, it might actually be Y to X because it would move the supply curve to the right, but it's not going to change the demand curve. It's going to increase. That one's kind of weird. So
DADB. So what's the first one?
What's that?
It was the first one. DADB.
It is?
Yeah, right to left.
Where'd you pull the answer from?
I was just looking at it. Here.
You're cutting out. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, I might. Sorry. See, X and Y is on the DA, is on the D, but you got to go left to right. I don't know if I'm making sense, but
Dotted DB right to left.
So because we're looking at the demand curve, but it's talking about an increase in the productivity. So it's talking about a shift of supply curve. So the supply curve would be going, it's not on the graph, but we're guessing where it would be moving from. So if it's going to move from a point from left to right, it wouldn't even affect the demand curve because the demand is independent of supply. They move, independently of each other.
Okay.
I think.
So are we saying that it would be from Y to X?
That's what I think, because it wouldn't shift the demand curve to the left if productivity went up for supply, but it also wouldn't shift it from the left to the right. The demand wouldn't go up just because productivity went up.
Yeah.
So I think so.
Oh, X to Y. Okay.
Y to X is what I was thinking. Anyways, we can come back to that one.
Okay.
Which of the 4 panels illustrates a decrease in quantity supplied? So we're looking for one of the 4 that moves down the supply curve. It looks like B is the only one.
Or which one?
B. Everything else, you're either increasing supply or quantity supplied, or you're changing the supply, not the quantity supplied.
Okay. Oh, I just keep getting confused between quantity supplied and actual supplied, like normal supplied. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was B as in boy? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Who wants to do 20?
Okay, I can read it. Which of these statements does not apply to market economies?
I said prices ensure that anyone who wants a product can get it.
I was just about to say C, yeah.
Submit.
Yeah, here I'll submit and we'll see if we need to do some adjustments here. %.
Nice.
Oh, nice. So which one did you say for, I guess you can stop recording now.
Yeah, here.